other big story that happened today. President Trump signs the Iran peace agreement. I thought about leading with that, but I assume everybody else is probably going to lead with that today, so I figured I'd start with Secretary Linda McMahon at Palace of Versailles. Report at humanevents.com. So it sounds like it's a done deal. President Trump got it signed, but they kept saying that it was going to be on Friday, so looks like they got it signed a little bit early. So Trump signs Iran peace agreement at the Palace of Versailles. Report, Trump signed a copy of the agreement while attending dinner with French President Emmanuel Macron at the Palace of Versailles. U.S. and Iran leaders have reportedly signed a memorandum of understanding that will bring an end to the war in Iran, or I would say conflict in Iran. Per Axios, Barak Ravid, Trump signed a copy of the agreement while attending dinner with French President Emmanuel Macron at the Palace of Versailles. Two U.S. officials told Ravid on Wednesday evening that the document had been signed remotely by the U.S. and Iran and that the document is now in effect. A photo of the signed document from Trump was reportedly sent to the Iranians and the mediating countries. And so that's the post by Barak Ravid. President Trump personally signed a copy of the agreement during a dinner with the president of France at the Palace of Versailles. A photo of the signed agreement was sent to the Iranians and the mediating countries. And it looks like not sure if that's actually related or not. The official text of the MOU was released by the U.S. on Wednesday. The 14-point agreement outlines steps toward reopening the Strait of Hormuz, easing certain financial restrictions on Iran, and establishing a framework for future technical negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. The document outlines an end to fighting on all fronts, with a final deal confirming the permanent termination of the war on all fronts. The agreement states, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in a maximum of 60 days. So it almost sounds like it's just going to drag on even more, but at least something got signed. At least there's a document that's going to hold both sides to it. And it goes on to say the document also declares that Iran will allow ships to safely pass through the Strait of Hormuz with no charge for 60 days. Additionally, the U.S. agrees under the MOU to develop with regional partners a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. What? Iran will reaffirm that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. So, okay. I guess like with what did it say with plant? Let's see. Hold on. Where did I read that? Okay, with regional partners. The U.S. agreed under the MOU to develop with regional partners a definitive mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion. Okay, I read that right. All right, well, I guess in the agreement, some way or another, that Iran's going to get $300 billion. I would certainly hope that the final agreement will outline exactly who's going to be controlling that money. I'd be a little unnerved to hear that it would be the IRGC or the Ayatollah controlling that $300 billion, because we already know what the hell they're going to do with it. They're going to develop the most big, beautiful nuclear program mankind's ever seen. So anyway, that happened. So I guess we'll just wait 60 days. We'll see if the peace continues for 60 days, and hopefully the gas prices will keep tumbling down in the meantime before they get that final agreement signed. And I think this might be the first post from Rapid Response. I'm the boss! With the LMAO emoji. The president arrives for a working session at the G7 summit in France. Let's have a look at President Trump today.
Hello, I'm the boss.
Oh man, Trump even said I'm the boss. The stone's on this guy. Like, damn right, he's the boss.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh yeah, a little loud, sorry.
Dear colleagues. So we have a photo.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to stay for the meeting? It's okay with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm assuming that was the press. All right. Yeah, because Trump is very transparent. I think all of his cabinet meetings has had the press in full attendance. I think it's been every single cabinet meeting so far. And another one, this time from the White House, the boss. I think it's going to be the same thing, right? Maybe not. Maybe. Yeah. All right. Okay. We get the idea. Yeah, that's the White House. Another one from Rapid Response. We are not investing 10 cents. The president shuts down false narratives around the MOU with Iran. Although I would have questions about the whole $300 billion thing, though, to rebuild Iran. So I would certainly have questions about that. I'm assuming that's probably what they were asking.
President, can you press the MOU that's been reported? It includes.
Have I read it?
Well, it's been reported that it includes a $300 billion construction fund funded by Gulf allies. That's false.
It's false.
there
People, you can invest if you want. I mean, what am I going to do? Say nobody's ever allowed to invest? No, we're not investing. We're not putting up 10 cents, and people can decide to do that, but that's up to them. I mean, do you want me to say nobody's ever allowed to invest in a country? I'll say it with Egypt. Nobody's allowed to invest in Egypt. Am I supposed to say that?
I'm asking whether.
We are not investing in it, and we do not have a fund.
Are you asking Gulf countries?
No,
to
I'm
have a
not.
fund?
I'm not. If they do it, fine, but I would say they won't be doing it for a while until they find out the behavior. It's a behavior thing, but we are not investing. That's a false story that got picked up incorrectly from a statement that was pretty well made, I think, maybe a little bit, could have been a little more accurate, frankly, but it's a story. We are not investing 10 cents. Don't forget, there's never been anybody that's been so tough on Iran. This should have been done by Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama. It should have been done by Biden. It should have been done by Bush. It could have been done by a lot of people. This has been going on for 47 years. They've ripped you off for 47 years, and I'm the only one that did anything about it. They never shot missiles at anybody. We wiped out their Navy. We wiped out their military. We wiped out their Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. They have no radar. You know, the reason oil stayed low is because we were taking ships out every night that you didn't even know about. 2 days ago,
You heard that here.
a month ago, we took out 22 ships. We averaged from 15 to 25 ships a night. Nobody knew that. Our Navy did a great job. Nobody knew what was happening. That's why oil didn't go to $300 a barrel. It went to 125, 115. Now it's at 72, 73. I heard it's lower than that now. I haven't seen it in the last couple of hours.
Oh yeah, keep tumbling.
No, we were very tough, and we took out a man named Soleimani. Remember that? You know?
Oh,
You think
yeah.
this would have happened if you were alive? The evil genius. He was an evil genius. People forget that. I took out Soleimani in my first term. Without that, you don't have the situation that we're in today where we dominated. We wiped out their military, and because we did that, and then we put up the blockade, which was totally effective. Not one ship got by.
Yeah, there you go. Not one ship got by. We even disabled some of the oil tankers in the process of the blockade. Okay, there we go. I got my camera back. Froze up on me again. Rolling on to the next. Wait, did we get through this one? Yeah. All right. From the White House, President Trump participates in a bilateral meeting with the president of the Arab Republic of Egypt. And I already reposted this, but here, let me undo repost and repost it again. So that way it's up at the top of the feed. So if you want to watch the whole thing, you can check it out by going straight there. Direct link below to my profile. And it's 16 minutes. It's not all that long, but I've got other more things to get to. That's why I just selected one of the highlight videos. But this will be down in the description, the link to the profile. Or you could go to @WhiteHouse, which was posted 15 hours ago, 6:41 a.m. on June 17th. And Ambassador Sergio Gore says a highly productive bilateral meeting took place today between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. The two leaders held substantive talks on trade, regional security, and deepening economic partnership on the sidelines of the G7 summit. Of course, the Prime Minister of India. And I didn't come across the full video of that meeting, and I didn't come across a highlight either, but I imagine that's out there, including right here on YouTube. From Defiant L's, Trump on Iran. I want to thank China and President Xi. He stayed totally neutral, and I want to thank Vladimir Putin. Democrats. He was very neutral. He was, ultra neutral.
It's going to take, and you know, the other thing I want to thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us, and I want to say it. You know, somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thanking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I won't talk with him. You know, they have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain?
Well, like, of course, Russia, they're tied up with the war in Ukraine, and China, I know their economy, it's always been a bit shaky. So, at least China did stay neutral. At least that, as far as we know, I wouldn't be surprised if China did secretly ship in some supplies here and there. Matter of fact, I seem to recall a couple of months ago when Operation Epic Fury was in full swing, I came across at least one or two articles or posts talking about exactly that, about how China was secretly trucking in drone parts or even full-on drones that they could put up in the sky right away, those one-way drones. But anyway, so Dan Scavino, he works in the White House. Let me get his title real quick. Assistant to the President, Deputy Chief of Staff at the White House. And this is live from Evian in France. And maybe I'll just watch a minute or so of this. I'm not exactly sure where this is specifically.
The stock market has surged
so
to record highs, picking up thousands of points over the last short period of time. Thousands of points. And oil is dropping like it has never dropped before, at levels that went in numbers down $7, down $8. They've never seen anything like that. But if we didn't do this deal, we could have dropped more bombs for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years.
Could have.
You would never have the Hormuz Strait open. You would never have success. Your market would have, instead of going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before, would go down at levels that nobody ever saw before, maybe except for 1929 or whatever. And all the tough guys don't realize that this wasn't a 3-month deal. This was years in the making. You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani. And if I didn't kill General Soleimani, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about this deal, because he was a mad genius. They never were able to replace him. But a lot of people forget that. The tough guys, the tough guys that would drive the country right down the tubes. The past 2 days have provided a chance to discuss the details of this historic agreement with many of our closest friends and allies, including the G7 nations and many presidents and prime ministers, as you saw. Prime Minister Modi was here. We had a long talk. He's a great guy. They are thrilled that we made a deal, every one of them. There's not one nation that came to us and said, please, sir, keep dropping bombs on them. Please keep dropping bombs. The stupid people say that. But I'm thrilled to report, and by the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $200 million worth of bombs. And, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else. And they knew I was coming for a third night. We informed them we're coming for a third night. They didn't have their Navy, it's sunk. They didn't have their Air Force, it's gone, not one plane. They didn't have anti-aircraft equipment, so we got free reign. They didn't have their leaders. But they have a new group of leaders that I think is, actually, I think they're smarter. I think they're very smart. I think they're far less radicalized, and I think they're. I think they're
we'll just have
really
to see.
Good. They love their country. You talk about regime change. Nobody will say that, but I guess their one set of leaders is all gone. Their second set of leaders is all gone. Their third set of leaders a little bit gone, but for the most part, and frankly, I think that's regime change. I think they're going to behave much differently. I think they see a different way of life that they were never exposed to. So the one thing I didn't want to see is I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course.
Of course.
Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
Oh, that's a
no, sir.
terrible statement.
The ego on
the
him.
stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we
Howard
said
Lightning
something
would say the same thing.
amazing,
No, I'm the best in the world.
like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what, we're not going to be able to settle, it would go down very big, Peter, very, very big.
Okay, well, as much as I would like to continue this, I'll repost this as well as everything else that I've reposted, and you know where to find it. And just rock on to the next from Eric Daugherty. Just in, President Trump says he'll maintain a U.S. military presence around the Strait of Hormuz to ensure Iran complies. Good, no games. And that actually reminds me, when he mentioned that if we kept dropping bombs on Iran and if it dragged on for, let's say, 2 years, then the Strait of Hormuz would have never been reopened. I get kind of confused when he says that, because on one hand, we've decimated their military, their air power, their power at sea, their anti-aircraft missiles, surface-to-air missiles. Like, it's all been decimated, it's all gone, but somehow we would have a really shaky, at best, Strait of Hormuz if the fighting continued. So, I don't know. I get mixed signals whenever that gets thrown around. But let's hear what he says here. It's quick. And very quiet.
It's a good question. We haven't thought of it. We really, probably a while. It's a good place to stay. The question was, how long will you leave the military in the Gulf? I would say a little while. See how it all goes. I think it's going to go well, but we'll see. So I will see you guys at Versailles.
Well, I imagine that the military's never too far away in case things get crazy. So, I'm not sure how long that they will be there. I mean, I don't know. They could be there for months, maybe a year. I don't know.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.